was already undergoing dramatic changes before pandemic. Even during pandemic, there are a lot of changes are happening in the health field. And innovation, it is the most important tool for improving the people's quality of life. Nowadays, the nurses become more educated. They have an opportunity to take an expanded roles and fill a drastic need in the years to come. When you see the innovation and future of nursing, they are intertwined. It is not we cannot separate these two things. So before going into innovation, I will ask participant to share your views or ideas about innovation. What do you mean by innovation? And please, participants, you can write your views in the chat box. And difference between innovation and creativity. What is the difference between innovation and the creativity? And what is ethics? So why I say the ethics, we'll discuss later, part of this discussion. So please write what you understand by these words, innovation, and the differentiate between innovation and creativity, and what is ethics. Innovation, according to the book, it is given like new and significantly modified product, that is goods or services, or process, that is a new marketing method, or in business practices, the implementation of a new organizational method in workplace organization or external relations. So here it is, I have highlighted the business practices. So this is the area we have to look into it for the future of nursing. So this also we will discuss in latter part of my presentation. Can anyone read what are the answers we have received from the group?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am.
Yeah,
yes,
innovation, it is a finding a new one.
new one.
Yeah, that is, it is given by Rupini. It is good. I'm happy to see a lot of the feedback I'm getting. It is the process of tuning a new concept. Very good. And the difference between innovation and creation is focus. Creating is about unleashing the potential of the mind to conceive new ideas. Very good. So there are very good answers we are getting. And dissolve towards new way of life. Devolve towards new way of life. Yeah, good. So it is a very good answer. As we all know, it is a new idea. So it refers to the creation of new and useful ideas and implementation. So please note down. So this is very important. The new ideas, we never say it is an innovation. The new ideas which is useful to the society, which is useful to someone, whatever we are doing it, whatever the new ideas we have, that should be useful to someone, then that is called innovation. Innovation is about doing things differently or doing different things to achieve large gains in performance. And there are always myths that most innovations come from laboratories, policymakers, or senior leaders. We always think innovation means it is for the people with high level, the senior leaders. But actually, so who is innovating? Who is doing innovation? The staff working in the field, working in the clinical area. So they bring lot of innovations. So whenever there is a reduction of the resources, whenever there is a continuous changes in the organization, whenever there is an increase in information, then the information, innovation and creativity comes out from the lower level. So when they were under reduction of resources, they know, when you go to government hospitals, this you can understand. So though there are scarce of resources, they know how to manage these resources effectively to deliver high quality nursing care to the patients. So the creativity is to think of new things. So you think the new things, the innovation is to do new things. So that is the main difference. Both are new, but the creativity we think, but innovations we do it. So what are the different types of innovations? So here the need-based innovations. So whenever there is a need, the innovation springs up. So what is happening nowadays? The COVID-19, everyone is said there are lockdowns, no one should come. There are how to prevent the COVID-19. There are different ways the government is laid down. The most important way is immunization. Immunization of COVID-19, it is a part of innovation. So whenever there is a need, the innovation happens. The people work together to find the solution for the problem. So that is called the need-based innovation, the knowledge-based innovation. So when the science developed, the knowledge-based innovation started flourishing. Like even the ma'am was telling, the current generation is able to handle 5 gadgets at a time. So the internet, Skypes, even AI integrated healthcare. So all these things are coming out based on knowledge-based innovations. Then third type is accidental innovations. Someone just happened to discover it. Like there are two subdivisions. One is collective innovations or individual innovations. The collective innovation is nothing but science or medicine involves collective effort. So the group of people work together to innovate. The best example is again COVID-19 immunization. The even if you look into that rocket, so the rocket has come out of 2-generation work. The 2-generation were working to bring out the rocket. This is the best example for collective innovations. Then individual innovation. So this is a personal experience. The individual, they innovate accidentally. So the best example I can tell for this is the Newton. So we all well aware about the Newton's law, and you know how he found this Newton's law. So during the lockdown time, he went to his home place where he was taking complete rest under the apple tree, and he noted the apple fell from the tree into the ground. Then he identified this. He innovated this Newton's law. So this is like accident, it happens. Innovation and ethics. So it is very important. We'll see what you say about ethics, the participants. What is ethics? Okay. The ethic is nothing but like what you don't want, like study of what is wrong and right in human behavior. Very good. It is then moral principles that govern person's behavior. Very good. In simple terms, if I like to express it, another answer is moral principle. Very good, very good. So in simple term, if I want to express, so what is ethics? Like if you want someone not to do anything for you, that you should not do it to others. If you expect someone should not do something to you, that you should not do it to others. That is called ethics. So that is very basic and very simple concept to understand. And ethics and innovation is interrelated. It is very much important. Whenever we are innovating something, it should be based on ethics. Leaving ethics, we cannot do innovation. So any innovation should be based on ethics. Like in previously, before and all, the people say there are good cholesterols and bad cholesterols, and the cholesterol is increased in cholesterol level is the reason for causing cardiac heart attack. But expressed that is good. Even it helps in formulation of collateral circulations. So it is good. So the concepts are changing. So why there is a need for innovation in nursing? So there is a complexity of nursing and healthcare system that focus on patient safety. Thus, more innovative nursing practices are required because the more geriatric people are coming, the age of the population is getting increased. So the patient safety is very much important. So the more and more innovative nursing practices are required in this field. And the innovation is vital in terms of improving quality of nursing care and maintaining it, because change is inevitable. So continuously in the nursing field, you have to innovate to improve the quality of nursing care. And innovation in nursing practice, it has a significant role in terms of promotion of health, prevention of disease, identification of risk factors, prevention and health enhancing behavior, maintenance and management of new information and services. In the planning of nursing services, use of innovative strategies are the key factors that directly affect the quality of the service. So, dear participants, can you say which year is declared as the year of innovation by ICN and European Union? So, please answer in chat box. Innovation in nursing. The nurses know what is important, the question their actions, whether it is appropriate or effective. In clinical field, whenever the nurse come across with the patients with any clinical symptoms or the problems, she knows what to do, what all the factors need to be collected in order to understand the patient condition, and she knows to identify the reason for the symptoms, and she will take some actions to solve the particular problem. And they decide which way is more effective and high quality and cost effective to solve the particular issue. And since the nurses are at the center of care, there cannot be innovation in care system without nurses, even in the treatment part. So if they want to bring innovation in the treatment, they cannot bring innovation without innovation in the care system. But as nurses, we can bring innovation in the care system even without bringing innovation in the treatment system. Even in the treatment system is not innovating, but we can bring innovation in the care system. But without bringing innovation in the care system, no one can bring innovation in the treatment system. And the nurses' care is an extremely important, and in complex services, what they do for, and being aware of the scientific basis of their actions and the quality research, it can provide cost-effective care. And we know our founder president, Dr. Gopi Chandran, is doing lot of research work, funded research projects, keeping the welfare of mankind in his mind, and doing lot of research, quality research, to bring changes in the nursing practice. So what are the characteristics we should promote to a culture of innovation? So whenever we think innovation, so it is happening at the staff level, at the nursing officer level. So we should encourage and value divergent thinking, which will promote creativity and enable innovations. Even our moderator was insisting on this. So we have to think in different way, out of box. So divergent thinking is very much important. We should encourage and value this divergent thinking, which will promote this creativity and which will enable the innovation. And we should support and manage risk-taking behavior. If somebody is taking some risk to do something that is keeping some goal in their mind, that is the welfare of the patient, then we should encourage and be willing to tolerate and learn from failure. This is very much important. So many times what happens when the failure comes, we should not fed up. Even subsequent failures, we should see that we have to forget about the incident, but we have to take out the experience, the learning. So what happened? Why it went wrong? So we have to take these failures or the stepping stones of success. So we should learn from the failures and move ahead towards the success and embrace flexibility in designing solutions to adjust to global market changes. So this is also very much important, and promote autonomy and freedom to instill confidence in nurses' abilities and decisions. This is very much important, especially for the nurse leaders. So we should give autonomy and freedom for the nurses working with you. So they will, and we should have confidence in their abilities and decisions. They will do wonders. They will do wonders in healthcare system. So there are some of the examples of innovations in the sphere of nursing. The Florence Nightingale believed that we have more livable world which will not be given to us. So the more livable world, what is happening nowadays in COVID-19 situation? So the more livable world which will not be given to us, but we should try to create this world. So when we want, whichever way you want to live, you have to create that world. And we must change the life rather than to comply with the previous one. Then Florence Nightingale pointed out the necessity and inevitability of change. So these are all the some of the innovations.
Excuse me, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, we are running short of time now. We need to speed up.
Yeah, I'm completing fast. So here, so you see, this is an innovation of arterial line sampling technique trainer. So it is a trainer developed by one of the nursing officer at AIIMS Rishikesh in simulation lab. So he developed his own model to train the nurses and the physicians. So these are all the Indian models which was developed by Indian nursing officers: true cut biopsy trainer and hemorrhage control trainer and wound and care of preterm baby, kangaroo care model. So this is also an innovative strategy. So whenever the care of preterm baby became very dangerous process, when there is a misuse of incubators and it is very expensive, this kangaroo care came into existence. So can you please play the video? This is one of our nursing faculty in PGI Chandigarh who is really doing wonders in healthcare field. So Jyotisna, yeah. Can you play?
Sitting from PGI Chandigarh and Society of Indian Neuroscience Nurses, I would like to share with you some of the changes that we have brought in our institute. We have started a nurse-led counseling for the patients of neurosurgery conditions and their caregivers, and we have implemented it through a nurse-led clinic where we have created a specialized post for the nurse, which is known as neurosurgery nurse counselor. We have recently also started a multidisciplinary amputation clinic where a specialized nurse who is having orthopedic nursing degree, she will be working as a amputation nurse counselor. So other than the specialized roles, we have also stroke nursing, diabetes nurses, and hemodialysis nurses and transplant nurses. Here we have also initiated stroke support group for the patients and caregivers as they are suffering from a lot of challenges during the home care and rehabilitation. Other than that, we have recently developed a diabetes insipidus dietary bundle for the post-operative pituitary patients, and recently it got published in a Journal of Advanced Nursing.
Okay, thank you, Jyotisna. Nursing innovation and future of nursing are intertwined. We cannot separate these two. So we'll see the future of nursing, patient-centered care. So there will be a shift from disease-centric focus to what people experiences. So when they move through disease to health continuum. So this is where when the new focus on providing an experience in which every person can receive the best possible health care will be spearheaded by nursing. Nurses are the people who see and feel those changes that occur in the small intimate moments at the bedside. So we are there with the patient at bedside. We are the person observing these changes. Nurses in user experience role. The nurses have the best understanding of what is the true clinical need. And nurses are with the end user of many products and services, any new healthcare products. So that comes to the field, that is in the hospitals or in community, the nurses are using those products and they know how this product is working. So what are the areas need to be improved in those products? What all the lacunae are there? How good the product is? How good the services are? So all these things can be given by only the nurses who is handling these products and services. So the nurses can be a product consultant in the companies. In future, we can see these changes definitely. Automating and streamlining work processes. So there's a common problem. The nurses need to do so much of work. So that cuts down their time so they can spend with their patients. So utilization of digital tools to streamline work processes so that more time can be spent with the patient. Artificial intelligence integrated nursing care is going to be boomed in the next decades. So where the artificial intelligence led nursing care, that is very much going to be an integral part of nursing care. So which is helpful for identifying the patient's need and delivering the patient's care, and also in administrative activities. So when you look into the future of nursing, online education system. So till this COVID-19 time, before this COVID-19 time, so we never thought of having online nursing education programs. But that has become true because of COVID-19. So the online education program is going to be the future of nursing. The COVID-19 limits in-person learning certificate program or online nursing degree programs provide a way of nurses to obtain a degree while continuing a work full-time, opening the door to higher education without sacrificing the work-related or family-related responsibilities. Then greater demand for community nurse practitioners. So this we are experiencing even now. So as our moderator, Dr. Lata Venkatesan has stated, so we are moving towards the community. Even ICUs are set up in home and the nurses are taking care of the patients at home. So the community nurse practitioners are going to be the practical in future. Then greater number of licensed nurse practitioners. So we'll be having nurse practitioners and unprecedented job growth for nurses and salaries for registered nurses will stay steady and increase. And higher education degrees will become the norm. And for every level of nurses, so it will become the norm and enhance nurse licensure at national level, making it easier for nurses to move across the state lines. So there may be a common nursing licensure, so the people from different states can move and work in different place without any struggle. And telenursing and chatbot services are making it easier for patients to access the healthcare system. Even this COVID-19 made it possible. Even Dr. Redamma, uh, who is an from INC consortium, have started telecounseling services. And even the other nursing association also started giving telecounseling services to the COVID affected patients, and more nurses will choose to specialize. And the proportion of male nurses will rise, and the nurses will continue to be more technologically savvy, like electronic health records to track health history of the patients, and smart beds to optimize the patient positioning, and even the robotic spend more time side with the patients. The field of nursing informatics will become more mainstream. So this growing specialization uses data collected by information technology system to create a more collaborative environment between a patient and nurses and other healthcare providers. So, and it has a direct positive impact on quality of patient care. An increase in cost-effective nursing care clinics. So already Dr. Manju Dandapani told, so there are a lot of orthopedic clinics, neuro clinics are running. So it one hospital, but it is going to be a future, like everywhere there are a lot of nursing clinics are going to be connected. Even our founder president of association is having an cardiac clinic, heart failure clinic at AIMS. He is running heart failure clinics, so which is very much useful for the patients. The nurse practitioners will play an important role in healthcare. And the space nursing. Space nursing is also the most important area we are going to have in future of nursing. So where the nurses may compare the people in the space station, what all the health issues they are going to have, and those issues, how it differs from patients in Earth. So they may compare these data and they may develop newer innovative ideas and nursing care plans. So the space nursing is also going to be our future. And also the simulation, it's already started existing. We have started simulation, the virtual simulation. The virtual simulation also going to be our future.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm completing just now. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, we are done.
This is the last slide, the nurse entrepreneur. This is where I have highlighted the business model. In the beginning, in the definition, the nurse entrepreneur, this is my dream. So every nurse should be the nurse entrepreneur. So we have license to practice independently. So the nurse entrepreneurs are not going to be the dream. It is going to be the realistic. It is a new path to influence healthcare, the business sector. The nurse who leverages their healthcare background along with creativity, business systems knowledge, and successful investment strategies to develop their own businesses in the healthcare industry. To conclude, a stagnant technology doesn't bring comfort to people. Ethics-driven innovation. The ultimate goal is to bring individual happiness and happiness to the society as a whole. Innovation in nursing is the future of nursing. So with this, I would like to conclude and also thank you for the wonderful opportunity given to me. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing with us your deep knowledge, and it will surely empower young nurses and motivate us to do new things. And yes, innovation is nursing is the future of nursing. So now moving forward to our next international speaker, Dr. Sujaya Lakshmi, and she's working as an assistant professor in the Department of Nursing at North Carolina Central University, Durham, USA. And ma'am is also the registered member of SOCN. And she's going to talk about future of nursing in the international context. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi everyone, good morning. Are you ready to come along with me for the future of nursing?
Yes,
If you're
ma'am.
ready, just stretch yourself. Come on, let's sit in the journey. Let's go together.
Thank you, ma'am.
As we need to move a little bit, just move around, straighten your brains, open your heart. Let's be ready. I want to thank the organization, Society of Cardiac Nurses, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Neeraj Kumar, Jyotisna, and other organizers. Thank you, Dr. Gopi Chand, for introducing me to this organization. I want to thank all the eminent speakers. We heard from Dr. Lata Venkateshan about key aspects. As she mentioned, we need to come from institutional care to home care, digital media, home-based care, telemedicine, and other things. We also learned from our previous speaker, Dr. Tamil Selvi. She has given a lot of information about innovation, and she covered with the lot of interaction. So I'm very happy. A lot of information has been covered, like space nursing, nursing clinics, virtual simulation, nurse entrepreneurship, all those aspects. Now, let's see what the international context. If you can put in the chart, what is your expectation? Like, what do you think the future will be? Can you just put it in the chart? Let us see whether whatever I'm covering or whatever you're thinking is different or is it the same? So let us see those aspects. Are you ready now? Okay, let us start. I'm sharing my screen. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is visible.
Thank you. This is our North Carolina Central University. So greetings from our faculty, staff, students, and everyone. This is our Department of Nursing, just to have a view. We are so proud, and I want to thank the opportunity. So future of nursing. All my information is, I gathered this information from the National Academy of Medicine. Before it was called as IOM. So they have the reported. I'm fortunate to see this report. Recently, it has been released. And I'm going to share all the resources to Dr. Neeraj Kumar, so that way he can share to everyone, whosoever is present. So there are a lot of videos and reports are there. So that way you can see like what's going on in the other side of the world. So this report is from Future Nursing 2020-2030, charting a path to achieve health equity. So all my information is based on this, all these reports. So my concepts will be covered on the different angles. I'll be focusing on how the nursing workforce should be, what are the leadership role, how about nursing education, are we having any role in taking care of our own selves, nurses' well-being. And we are seeing a lot of emergency preparedness, like we saw the COVID-ness. So how we have to be prepared in the future and what kind of responsibilities we have to take. So there are some responsibilities with respect to structural, individual determinants of health. So let us see those aspects. So when you see, like we emphasize we in the sense like in US and other Western countries, we see a lot of health inequality. Health is not, is provided in the same way or not accessible to everyone. So there is a lot of discrimination like racism. There are a lot of cultural factors, accessibility, like rural, urban, those aspects. So we need to work on our equity principle. So that's the primary one. So every nurse, whether you're working in the hospital setting, in the administration, leadership, or research, or any place, our role is to work for the equity. That's the first and foremost. So we need to work in collaboration. We used to work like interprofessional. So within the department, like health team. First, we used to work with nursing team. Now we talk about health team, interprofessional collaboration. But we have to come out of the box. We have to work with multi-sectorial people. So I'll give my personal example towards the end, how I have achieved this goal. Like we have to work with food industry, transportation, education. And we all need to work on this aspect. You may be familiar with these things. Again, I'm refreshing your memories. Social determinants of health. Until unless you are taking care of these things, health cannot be achieved. If somebody is not having a job, they don't have money, they can't buy the provision, they can't buy the medicines. So jobs, safe housing, fresh food, affordable food. Fresh food is, very big commodity. Dependable transportation. If you need to go to the doctor's office, you need to have the transportation. And when you're living, we need to live in a safe neighborhoods without any fear. We need to have walking paths. We need to have basic amenities like, exercises, adequate space, green space is very important. And the school systems should be good. We hear so much of, racial violence and gun shooting. So we have to overcome for all those aspects. So each and every nurse has to pay attention to the social determinants of health. That's the future. So all our education, our research, we need to focus on these aspects. Let us move on to the other aspects. When you see the population, like ratio between the patients, I use the word client, and the physicians, there's a lot of shortages there. And we don't have access to the primary health care, the basic health care. If you see the mortality rates, infant mortality, maternal mortality rates are very, very high. And the health workforce, there's a lot of imbalances. And if you see the health related policies, there's so much difficult. And with regard to the scope of practice, there's a lot has to be done. And the resources are unequal. So we need to focus on these factors. Until unless you tackle all these things, you may not be able to get the healthy nations. So as nurses, our future should be focused on these aspects. Let's move on to the barriers. Some of the barriers, like our previous speaker was talking about nurse practitioners, advanced practice registered nurses, APRNs. They should be covered in all states. As the previous speaker has mentioned, like in India, we're trying to get national, license. Likewise, even in US, we need to have those things. Like if you are registered in one state, you should be able to work in other states when time comes, when need comes. And we have to overcome with a lot of those barriers. The registered nurses, LPNs, they need to work to the best of their ability, their training and the scope. And we have to get rid of those restrictive policies and practices. That means we need to work on those. We need to work on in the committees, policy developments and procedures. Maybe in the private sector, public sector, thereby we can mitigate those limitations. See, our role is so much. As I said, racism is so much, it's a serious threat to the public health. So everybody has to work on this mitigation of this racism. And we have seen the nurses' contribution. In a row, we are received that nurses are the dependent and very reliable and most trusted profession, and people give so much value for our nursing. So we have to get special attention and recognition. See, we are not only working in the hospital where the curative care, we are working in preventive care and health promotion, even in primary care settings, transitional care, like when patients are coming from hospital to home, or maybe in group homes and other places. We are working as case managers, care coordinators. So all these areas, wherever you're working, nurses need to get the recognition and their contributions has to be valued. Let us come to the next aspect, better payment models. So what it is? So these are the components which helps in the value-based care organizations. So we are accountable to the community, to our profession. So we have to pay attention to all these aspects. Already I mentioned. So again, I'm mentioning social determinants of health. So equity principle. And when you're working team-based care, not only interprofessional, intersectorial, and communication has to be very effective. We have a lot of educators in this group. Let us see like what educators has to say, like what is the future of educators. When you see the faculty members, they need to be selected from a wide range of backgrounds, and they need to support students from diverse populations. Again, we see the principle of inclusive, cultivate an inclusive environment, practice cultural humility. We need to be aware of our own biases and try to overcome them. We have to gain knowledge, skills, and competencies to prepare our nursing students for advanced health equity. So I'm stressing the principle of equity, prepare action-oriented strategies. Like racism, we do the role play, like simulations, virtual simulations, or maybe in-person simulations, high fidelity. When you do those aspects, so we need to mitigate those racism-related aspects. Health inequalities has to be taken care. So work with students. We need to take care of students who are coming from underrepresented communities. So when they may be the first generation in the degree program, or they are coming from a rural area where they never stepped out of their homes. So when you are coming across with the different kinds of population, as nurse educators, we have to guide them. We have to support them. We have to sponsor them. We have to mentor them throughout their career. I'm talking about the mentorship, the importance of mentorship. Again, you see in this picture, like inclusiveness, diversity. So health equity is the core component. So as per this report, National Academy of Medicine report. So when you talk about health equity, everyone is responsible of taking care. Like it can be administrators, faculty members, nursing students, and should take care of the principle. So the students should be prepared. We are preparing them mostly to work in the acute care settings, in the hospital settings. So they need to be prepared to work with not only the health professionals, the other non-health professionals also. So maybe, I'm going to give some of my examples later. And in the Indian context, we can see so many aspects. Like when I was in India, I was a NSS officer. So that time we worked with panchayats. So we did roads for the villages. we conducted, we worked with deaf and dumb school where we did our first aid and other aspects. So we have to select from diverse backgrounds and mentorship. And very important thing, the students need to be prepared to work efficiently in different settings. Some of the examples of those key settings are school health, home health, public health clinics. Already our previous speaker have mentioned about those aspects. And telenursing and telemedicine, telework settings are very, very important. So most of the time, our curriculum is covering up only in the community health, but throughout the curriculum, all these aspects like integrate diverse of health, health inequalities, population health, all these concepts has to be covered. Very important thing is disaster preparedness. We have seen and we worked very well. We are working still, but we need to be prepared for this disaster. Any disasters, it can be man-made or natural or any of those things, and ready to manage the public health emergencies. So let us see, the next aspect is about nurses' well-being. As we have seen, nurses are facing during this pandemic. We are working in multiple critical ill clients. We are leaving our families, staying with the clients who are dying and taking care of them, leaving our own kith and kin outside. And we are putting ourselves into greater risk because of lack of personal equipment. Even we are taking up extra load whenever needed. People are working for long shifts, overwork, lack of rest, constant stress. And we have a lot of ethical dilemmas because we don't have enough equipment and supplies. We are facing a lot of moral dilemmas and stress and strain. So nurses need to take care of themselves first. Then only you'll be able to take care of others. And you can see the racial and ethnic minorities, they are the population who are exposed during this COVID. They are the ones who are suffering. So in order to take care of ourselves, we have to reduce the workplace hazards, prevent burnout and fatigue, and take care of our mental health. And we need to get enough rest and get enough equipment, take care of our moral dilemmas and have counseling sessions, all those aspects. So by the year 2021, it's recommended that every educational programs, I'm stressing, employers, nurse leaders, licensing boards, nursing organizations, they all should initiate. So I'm giving the Society of Cardiac Nurses, so you all have the responsibility on these aspects. Make sure you are implementing the structures, the systems, evidence-based interventions to promote nurses' health and well-being. So this is the greatest responsibility is laid on all the organizations. License boards, nurse leaders, employers, everyone has to take care of their own nurses. Let us see nurses' role as advocates, as leaders. As leaders, we have to, as I was telling throughout my presentation, racism, like we need to acknowledge, confront the racism and dismantle structural racism, the discrimination, inequalities. As nurse clinicians, we have to serve as clients' advocate, display model behaviors, promote culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. These are the three things: diversity, equity, inclusion. And we have to take care of our own selves, like practice yoga, meditation, guided imagery, seek support, peer group support, explore how drivers of health affect you, reflect on self-inflicted biases. So do the retrospection. What kind of biases we have, how to overcome. So need to accept our own limitations and work on those aspects. And whenever there is a shared evidence-based practices, we need to share them and make sure that equitable healthcare services are provided. So as researchers, whenever you are working, our proposal should be on evidence-based practice models, identify how we can work with multi-sectoral team approaches, how we have to work with the evidence-based education strategies. Thereby, we can mitigate structural racism, implicit biases. And other aspect is developing IT infrastructure. We talked about space medicine, even like nursing clinics. So infrastructure, integrate health and social data. Special value has been given to the community and public health nursing. So the school health nursing will be given more importance because they are the ones who are bridging between the healthcare and the education systems with all the other health sectors. They are paying very special attention to the complex needs of the society. And we have to work on infection control, prevention aspects, and care should be person-centered and population-based skills and team-based approach. So in a nutshell, the future will be more primary care settings, both in rural and urban areas. As the population is aging, so we need to work, more focus should be given on geriatric nursing. As we are seeing so many mental health issues, behavioral issues are increasing, psychiatric mental health nurses specialized in those fields. We need more counselors, more clinicians in those fields. And we see that discrepancy between rural and urban. So more rural health nursing has to be taken care. Telenursing and maternal and pediatric care has to be given importance. We heard before and we are hearing again, it's about nurse practitioners, independent nurse practitioners in various specialties. And doctorally prepared nurses are needed. And our approach should be team-based and home health, school health in public health settings, not only in the institutional. We have to move to the public and home settings. We are getting so much of trust. The trust has to be retained. We need to retain the trust, play key advocates for the families, for the clients, for the communities, for the nation in general, and for the global. Involve healthcare system from the policy development till its evaluation. Let me come to tell my story. You can see some pictures here. So I have taken a project. So when I got an opportunity to serve as a faculty mentor for a project called Food Line Feeds. So one of my student served as a project person and I'm a mentor for that. So the activities are like we need to conduct different activities on Food Line Feeds. That was the agency. So that we were competing for 22 institutions, like all the different colleges. As you all know, like when there is a college, there are different departments, like Department of Psychology, Sociology, all those things, like nursing was one among them. So when I got this opportunity, I said, I didn't expect that how big it is. I said, okay, let's try, because my nature is always try to take up any challenge. So when I started, then when we were competing, we were seeing our grades, like our points. We were not getting that much because other people were doing in a different way. Then when I saw those aspects, I said, I need to come out of this box and we have to work on different aspects. So I started, collaborating with international agencies and other organizations, profit, non-profit, healthcare, faith-based. Being an Indian, I have the advantage of, working with different organizations like Telugu Association, Tamil, and Hindi, and all organizations. And I have some friends who are working in churches and other areas. So our goal was to, mitigate hunger and work on those projects. Okay, we started working on, so slowly our points have moved up. Guess what? Out of 22 institutions, our NCCU won $10,000. So I said, wow, that's great. So in this process, what I have done from my institution, from my department, I came out. So initially I was working on with the NCCU, different departments. Then I moved on to intersectorial, then global. So in these pictures, you see, we were collecting, different, you see the hygiene products and shoes and other things. There is a warm clothes. There are warm blankets. Our US is having a winter time. We have a lot of homeless population. So they need warm blankets and throws and other things. So we started collecting all these aspects and started giving to them. In that process, I came across with so many people. So then I started working on what do you need? Like I went to the different organizations. We call it as a Durham Rescue Mission. They call it as a shelters and mental health organizations. So some are voluntary and non-profit. So when I used to ask them like, what are your needs? So I get the list. Then there are some donors. So there are some individual donors or maybe some organizations. I used to tell them, hey, they need these things. They were telling like, hey, we cannot go. Can you take it? So my husband was kind enough to give me those vehicles. You can see my vehicles here. So he has given his vehicles and my house in the garage. We filled those aspects, filled those items. Then go there, collect all those things, put it there, segregate, and whosoever needs what, like somebody needs during COVID time, they want hand sanitizer, soaps, masks, and gloves and other aspects. Maybe some other community, they needed this warm clothes and other things. So in this process, I came out of the box, worked with the intersectorial. So in this process, I didn't work alone. I worked with my other team members, so my students. So they worked with me as a team. So they learned this process. So this was one of my example, what I want to share. And I'm waiting for the day where COVID is over. We all will, this is one of the picture where I went to Hawaii and enjoyed this one of the conference. So I'm wishing COVID should be over soon and we all need to, go to different conferences in person and enjoy the life. So the call is there. Call is for you, for me, and for all of us. So the future is waiting. We all need to work. We know like what we need and we know what are the skills needed, how we have to work. So everybody has to take responsibility. The call has come now. So we see the report. We know like how the future is going, future needs are. So we need to work on. So are you ready to work for those things? What is the take-home message you are getting from me? Throughout you heard, I talked about diversity. Even in India, we have those diversity issues. Inclusion, we need to include everybody. It's not me, it's we. And everybody has to work together. Cultural humility, and take care of the technology, and work on this emergency preparedness. Come out from that, from your inside box, like outside box, intersectoral approach. Look for the social determinants, be prepared. Let's all join together and move on to the future of nursing. These are my references. If you have any questions, please feel free to share. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I enjoyed. Let me see in the chat box if I have any of those comments.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us about the future of nursing, and it will surely going to benefit for every one of us. So now, before ending the session, I'd like to offer a vote of thanks on this auspicious day. So firstly, I'm very thankful to our honorable guest of honor, Dr. Lata, for sharing their graceful word with us. And I'd like to thank thank all the speakers, Dr. Kamiselvi A, and international speaker, Dr. Sajaya Lakshmi, for taking out their valuable time and sharing their knowledge with us. And our sincere gratitude to our Honorable Founder President, Dr. L. Gopi Chandran, and President, Mr. Neeraj Kumar Swankar, for organizing this wonderful webinar in order to empower the young nurses. A special thanks to executive member for their unflinching support and cooperation, and we thank ECO team for this platform. Last but not the least, a big thank you to all the participants without which this webinar is not meaningful. So with this warm word, we move to the end of this webinar, and we are looking forward to see you all in our next session. Thank you all. Thank you.
Can I end the session?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can end. Thank you.